Welcome to Future Flex. I'm your host Marlia and today I'm here with McClean Hennessy and Lisy Kane to talk a little bit about the VCE Vocational Major. So hey guys, welcome to Future Flex. How are you going?
Yeah, good.
Really
Thank
good,
you.
Thanks.
Well, before we start, I thought I'd just tell you a little bit about what the VCE Vocational Major is. Basically, it's really cool. You get to do different classroom subjects as well as get the opportunity to get some practical experience in a vocational industry. You also get to start working towards a vet certificate, which is really amazing to accomplish in high school.
Sounds like something I wish I had in high school, that's for sure.
That would have been helpful.
Well, let's get straight into it. Ali, do you want to tell me a little bit about your career and what you do?
Sure. So I'm a game developer. I run my own game studio. I'm the game director. But because we're a small studio, it also means that as the director, you do everything else. So it's a lot of coding, making art, writing, doing business, all of those things.
I wear a couple of different hats. So one of my main jobs is working as a production director for an international games publisher. So as a production director, a big part of the job is figuring out how games release and working with our team and making sure that those games come out on time and hopefully under budget. Another part of my life is also running a company where we work on encouraging more women and girls into careers in technology.
I would love to know about what a normal day would look like for you. Tell me about a day in the life being you.
Yeah. So every day we get up and it starts with a stand-up. So it's just like a morning coffee meeting with everyone on the team talking about what we did yesterday, what we're going to do today, and if we need help with anything. And then we all kind of go off into our own areas and work on what we're going to work on for that day. And because it's so different every day, it could be, slaving away on making an animation of a ball bouncing correctly, or it can be making a shader to make the sky the correct shade of purple when the sun sets, or it's writing or coding or doing business meetings.
The morning, I'm usually focused on the work around trying to get more women and girls into STEM. So it's a lot of project management, event management, a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of meetings with my team to make sure that they've got what they need to do their jobs. And then I'll usually take a break and then log on for, I call it the night shift, but I'm mainly working with folks over in the other side of the world. So a lot of those night shifts are talking about meetings. It could be anything from, having a chat with the brand team to see about the marketing for a particular game title that's coming out. It could be looking at sales data, the business side of things. Every day is kind of different, and also every month is probably going to be different as well because I do a little bit of travel for my work as well.
So Lisy, you talk about getting girls into STEM. I'd love to know, do you have any advice for girls that want to get into a career in digital technologies?
I think we're at a very lucky time where there's a lot of available resources online. So I think, looking at programs like this one, definitely, but looking at, what's around there, who's doing different things and actually looking for inspiration. Because one of the things we find is the limiting beliefs around seeing yourself in the world. And, since our careers have started in games, there are way more women and girls making video games all over the world. But then another big thing we talk about is finding your girl gang. So finding folks around you that can help encourage you, pump you up, and also realizing you're not alone on this journey, because I think one of those things is when you feel like you're alone, it's really hard to keep going. So looking online, finding your friends, and it could be virtual friends as well. Those two things I think are really important to finding those careers and keeping on going.
That's really great advice. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Oh, I agree with everything that you said. I think something that I wish I'd had when I was younger is the knowledge that you can have now that there are so many different types of games, because I grew up with two older brothers who were always playing games that appealed to them. And I always sort of thought I was not a good gamer. You had to have some kind of skills to get into playing games. But now, obviously, I can see there's such a huge breadth of games, cozy games and creative games and games that are used for self-expression. If you find what you're drawn to, and then it's a lot easier to think about how you could possibly make something like that.
I want to take it back to when you guys were in high school. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience and what it was like for you?
It was very different, I think, to some of the high school programs that are around now. I actually struggled with high school quite a bit because I really didn't feel like I found my foot academically. I wasn't a great student. I really enjoyed things outside of the classroom. So I did a lot of music, and I really struggled with the sitting down and the learning and the rope learning. I was fortunate enough to find a few friends within high school that had some similar interests to me, but it was, not as simple, I think, as it could have been.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I was very academic in high school. I was very focused on getting good scores and coming first in all my classes and trying to be dux at the school. This was really important to me. So I was really invested in study and like academic success, to the point where I think I just didn't really invest that much time in like going out into the world and like understanding what my life might be like after high school. So that's why I think like programs like this would have been great for me to have that experience and that perspective on the world outside of books.
You're both like opposites. It's so
I know,
fun.
we're so different.
And it is so different. And I would love to know what your transitions into your careers were like from school into what you do now.
So for me, it was a bit of a journey, because when I finished high school, I had no idea what I really wanted to do at all. I also didn't have the grades that I needed to achieve, anything in a university sense. So I actually spent the first year at a TAFE, building up my scores, and still didn't have the answers. I signed up and did about a year of a film, TV and music course, but I kind of was back at square one, where the course itself was very academic and very by the books, and was missing that tangible kind of hands-on experience. And really what got me into the career I am today was going back to it was a textbook at the time, and looking at all the degrees that there were. And I saw you could study game design, and it also didn't have exams, which was two big ticks. And it was one of those things, as soon as I got into those classrooms and as soon as I saw the structure of how they were teaching it, it was like a light had switched, and I found that mix of creativity and technology that I'd been looking for. Then that's really what got me into the career was that experience.
My path from high school into my career was quite unconventional. As you could probably tell from all the talk about books and studying, I was a bit of a nerd in high school, still am. But because of that, I was really interested in like comic books and video games and like pop culture stuff. So I was going to conventions a lot and saw people who were doing cosplay, like making costumes. And I was really drawn to it. I started doing that when I was really young. And sort of when I left high school, I became like cosplay famous on the internet in a very small way. But that opened so many doors for me. I got to travel the world, work for different game companies and comic book conventions all over. And that's how I met game developers and realized actually it's like people who make games. I'd never really thought about it. Just thought they kind of
Came out of a disc.
Computer happen and then game exist. But yeah, that's when I met game developers and realized that I was really interested in that career. So it was a bit of a roller coaster journey to get into games.
Do you think that there is a certain skill or something, a superpower that you think someone would really need to succeed in your careers?
Yeah, I think for me it's empathy. Like I was talking about with the morning stand-ups, the way that you're able to be present with people and listen to them and understand, because there's often people who are very different to you. So being able to see the project and the world from that person's perspective makes you show up as a great game developer. When I started making games, I didn't have any qualifications to make games. I was never trained how to make games, but I was good because of my interest in communications, because of traveling the world and meeting people and having that experience outside of the classroom, like you could do with this vocational major. That's what made me a good game developer at the beginning, was I knew how to talk to people and how to listen to them.
And that's so cool, because that is something that the VCE Vocational Major does offer, that practical experience in getting, because how are people going to know if they don't try? So that's very true.
The superpower that I believe in is curiosity. And you can't really learn that by reading a textbook. Or maybe you're curious to read the textbook, but being able to follow those questions and, being able to go, why does it work this way? Really figuring out the why of things.
And talking about these skills and superpowers, if you could go back to when you were 15, what would you tell your younger self to help you get to where you are today?
When I was in high school, what I was really prone to was only doing things that I was immediately good at. So I really wanted to just like win at everything and come first. And so anything that was sort of challenging to pick up, I avoided. And I don't think anybody is good at coding the second that they pick it up. So it actually took me a really long time and really deep into my career to start entertaining the idea that I could be a technical person and that I could enjoy coding and I could enjoy really getting in the engine and getting my hands dirty. I wish that I had backed myself and had that confidence to explore things that were a little bit more intimidating sooner.
Yeah.
When I was 15, I think I definitely wish I'd definitely followed my own advice and been a bit more curious. I think I thought that the path that I had laid out was the only option for me at that time, finish high school, go to university. And I think having something like this vocational major would have given me an opportunity to go, the reason why you're struggling with this type of academia is because that practical learning is how you work best. And I just didn't really have that option for me. So being able to understand that there are different ways of doing things and going, that's actually a strength, not a weakness, would have been really, really important. I think just for my confidence, but also for my, career today.
I'd love to know what the best thing about what you do is and something that you could probably live without.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the best thing is the variety. I get really bored of things really quickly. If I have to do the same thing every day, I'm not happy. So I love that every day is different, that I'm always learning new skills as well, because the industry is always changing. The types of games people want to play is always changing. The tools we use are always changing. So I love the variety. What I could live without is probably the deadlines.
I'm very fortunate in my career. One of the biggest perks for me is being able to travel the world and being able to meet different game developers from all different walks of life. I think that wasn't something that I thought would be a benefit, but being able to do that is really, really exciting. I feel very privileged to be able to do that. I've been able to, go to Japan, go to Europe, go to America. That's been something that's been extremely exciting. And kind of related to that, one of the things I think the downside of this is the overtime and the blurred lines between what's work and what's not work, especially in an area that you're really passionate about.
Ally, you spoke about all the variety and doing different things. And I'd love to know if you feel like there's a lot of variety in the industry and if you think that times are changing and what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, even in the time that we've been in games, I think the industry has changed so much. When I first started making games, I really thought there was a really particular career path that I was going to be on, and I was just going to tick away doing that for the rest of my life. And maybe I would have been happy doing that, but the industry has changed. Like the way that companies work has changed. It used to be, well, my vision, I would love to hear if you thought this. My vision was that I was going to get like an entry-level job at a big games company, and then just gradually over time I would get promoted and I would stay at that company and make every game that company made until I retire. Yes. And I've worked at maybe 12 different game companies so far in my career, and I have really enjoyed the variety of that, because working on like hundreds and hundreds of people working on the same game all around the world, or working when it's 3 people together trying to make a game with almost no money, or working on, I worked on a hearing rehabilitation game. So that was people who have hearing implants, learning to enjoy music again through gameplay, and then making things that are also really personal and things that are true expressions of like who I am as an artist and putting that out into the world.
So access to these careers are a lot closer. You're finding, young folks like yourselves being able to whip games together quickly versus, 10 years ago that wouldn't have been an option at all. So technology has made this stuff really, really different, and that's why it's really interesting, because every day it's changing for better or worse. It's making it difficult, but it's also making it really exciting.
Well, I've got one more question. Take a look around at this amazing room we're in. I want you to pick out your favourite decoration and thing you can see and just tell me why it's your favourite.
I mean, I keep eyeing off the computer. I love any sort of transparent technology where I get to see how it works, and a lot of nostalgia associated with that.
I think for me, they're these really kind of dorky looking keyboard. The reason why they're shaped like that and flexible is actually take with you. So for example, when I was growing up, I went to a lot of LAN parties where you'd bring along your own gear and you'd play games together. So similar nostalgia vibes around, playing games with friends in a big room together and nerding out. So I would definitely want to take that home with me if I could.
That's a new thing. I did not know that. Yeah. Just thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So if you're curious about the VCE Vocational Major, search VCE VM to find out more. Catch you next time.